touch with. Um, it really is walking away from where culture is at or society is at. Where current belief is at. When we start looking into depth psychology. But the dream I was going to tell you about was I dreamt I was in this shop, like a 7-Eleven, like a supermarket shop, a small supermarket type thing, and I was buying it, or it was being sold to me, one or the other, but it was coming my way the deal had been done,
Hmm.
and as I was going in, and this was going to be the transfer, that I was going to get the keys and meet the owner and stuff like that. And I had previously gone in that morning and I had bought a cake at the deli counter. And I had said to him, listen, keep it and I'll collect it later on. So when I went in, it was busy and there was loads of people around the shopkeeper, the till, and doing getting the shopping through. And I was standing there for my turn and I was watching the shopkeeper, and then the woman from the deli counter came over and handed up the case, which was being put in a cellophane box for me. Handed up the cake to the man on the till, and as she handed up, I noticed it was full of strawberries and raspberries, and it was like instead of just being a cake, it was like a work of art. It was absolutely, meringue and cream and absolutely delicious. And it was served on a bed of rice with potatoes and vegetables. It was like a complete meal in itself. And and it was coming up, and I was like, "Oh wow, look at that!" And it had things like bird's nest noodles in it as well. It was like
What?
it was incredible, and it was been passed forward, and your man took it, and that was fine. And as I looked at him, and I realized I'd come in at a busy time to the shop, but I wasn't. I was just standing back waiting for things to happen. It didn't. There was no urgency on any of it. Uh, he looked over at me, and I can see as our eyes met, he was wearing a bodysuit. Yeah, he
God.
his eyes,
Yeah, yeah,
the eyes that I looked into were deep inside him. And
yeah.
I was looking into a being. I immediately recognized this is a being from a different realm. And he's entered into the dream world and he's wearing a bodysuit made of dream material.
Wow.
And yet he
Yeah,
is
yeah.
from a different realm. And I could see that he was more, as I looked at him, I could see that he was more, how can I describe it? He was made up of instinct. He was more animal than human, but not animal either. He
Yeah, 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 yeah.
he
I get.
wasn't ego
Hmm.
in the sense that we are ego, human.
Yeah, yeah.
He was much more natural.
When you speak about that, what pops into my mind is the pan, what you call it, pan archetype.
Pan, yeah, pan.
Pan archetype, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. It was like looking into the eyes of a horse.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? You could
Yeah,
see
yeah, yeah.
enormously strong, deep eyes. And I held his gaze and he was looking at me and I absolutely knew this is like a being that you could get in touch with through active imagination.
Yeah, it's real, isn't it?
It was real, absolutely real. But
Like,
the aliveness in him was coming from a different realm. But it wouldn't come into this world, but I could meet it in the dream world.
yes, you can meet it in the word in the there in between.
But he wasn't a dream character.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That makes
It was
sense.
like meeting an archetypal being.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you speak with him?
No, he just served me, and he owned the shop that I was buying.
Oh, did you hear that? He served me.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He served me, yeah,
served
but
me.
I was also, I suppose, his customer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Strange, isn't it? Like
So
I
it's
I
like a
was being
mutual.
nourished.
It sounds to me like Jung's Philemon, like some of these,
It
you
was a
know,
really strange experience.
wow.
Like I've had a similar experience in meeting beings with psychedelics, say with ayahuasca, where you'd meet a nature spirit
Mm-hmm.
and like a being that's not of here, but the being would be like I remember meeting the spirit of a tree,
Mm.
for example. I
Yeah,
feel it was the spirit of a tree, and it was sinuous. It was like the grain of the tree was part of its character. It was oh, how can I describe it?
yeah,
That's how I would
hard,
describe it.
hard
It
to
was
describe it.
it
Yeah,
was so different,
yeah,
and yet it was so alive in a different way. It was like experiencing water moving,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
water that had
I
become
get that.
physical. It wasn't water anymore. Now it was the grain of a tree. It was wood,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
but it was
And
flowing and
it's
it was
it's
alive.
it's so so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was in Norway here in Hemsedal for a
Mm.
week, and up in these little mountains, they were absolutely so full of life,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
there
yeah.
was like big trolls and little, there were so many things going on, and and I remember saying to Jeppe, my son, he's very like thinking linear, like, no, this is a rock, that's it.
A rock is a rock.
A rock is a rock, and that's it. And I said, no, 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 no. Can you see there's
Yeah.
like little, it was like a
Oh,
little
they're alive.
or something that was so full of life. And he
Yeah,
was like laying there with his head as big as a mountain, and his body in the other mountain, and just patiently watching. I was
yeah,
like, oh, it was such a magical moment. So I
yeah. I know.
absolutely
I
get
know. I
what you're
think
saying.
stone is amazing.
Yeah,
Stone and rock is amazing for
yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
the
absolutely
mountains.
amazing.
I mean, they're just so big and massive.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
I
the
was,
another thing that occurred, which I was going to mention here, was this is a totally different sort of subject now, stepping aside into something else. The importance of the group within our journey and how group picks up from family.
hmm
So as we engage in our own journey, we can go so far in our journey, and that's fine. But we need fraternity. We need the collective. We need something to carry us across that threshold from family to individuality.
mm,
Whereas we say, for example, we encounter knowledge and teachings and philosophies and all that sort of stuff, and we have our experiences, we're still anchored in family.
mm,
There's still a huge part of us that is connected through family with our past, with our previous identities. And by virtue of meeting a group, by being involved in a fraternity of people of like mind, people who are on a similar journey, they serve the purpose of bringing that uh, diverse part of myself,
mm.
the collective side of myself.
Yes, I,
It
I I get that.
they hold it for me. They are
Yeah.
the group becomes the container
Mm,
for that aspect of myself. So whether it be going to a group where everybody is listening to a lecture, or whether it's a group in a psychotherapy group or a study program or anything like that, but having that collective of people that can share a similar view of that middle ground,
mm.
where I begin to change my life and my mind and my direction. Do you see?
But it's the same again, Stuart, isn't it? It's like you can go in there, you can see it as a lecture, you learn something, get
Yeah,
new like knowledge, but at the same time, when you look at it symbolically, There's
But
so
there's so
much
much more
going
going on than just
exactly,
knowledge.
exactly,
Like you
exactly.
can have all the ingredients on the table, but it's not going to bake a cake.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Do
exactly.
you, do you know what I mean? So
Exactly.
the knowledge being the ingredients, but it's not going to bake the cake.
Yeah,
But this mixing of ideas, this interaction with people, this human experience is what bakes the cake. You got to have the human experience
yeah,
in
yeah,
order for that oven to be turned on and reach cooking temperature.
yeah,
Otherwise it just remains as ingredients on the table.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
An intellectual sort of
Yes.
pursuit.
Yeah, yeah. I absolutely understand what you're saying. Um, I would like to go back to this. It's so funny that how our conversations turn and twist and do because we started out before we turned the video on. We started out with talking about mediumship and talking
Yeah.
about the mediums um and then we switched the video on and then you bring this in and I think it's so interesting.
When I was listening to those two characters that we named the two mediums that we were talking about, when I listened to them working online, I notice in myself at certain occasions, there's before it's named, I get it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's a level of mind that is so subtle.
I call that in me, that's intuition working.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
But
like I know it. I arrive before I arrive. There's a part
yes,
of me that is there before I'm there,
yeah,
because
exactly.
the
Yeah, yeah.
ego me is slower, and the self kind of the higher me is faster. So it can sometimes we have these like déjà vu experiences, but I think basically only that it's my intuition that was already there.
But all we have to do is just recognize that level.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah,
to recognize the place where it is.
yeah,
Then it becomes so much more accessible.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I notice that is going on in me all the time,
yeah, exactly.
but I don't see it. I don't pay attention to it. Do you know, it's like it's just part of the workings of my normal psyche.
Yeah,
And it's like there's a radio on in the other room and I'm not listening to it, but it's
yeah,
on.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
playing music.
It's like two, like the train wrecks. Is that what you
Yeah.
put it earlier? I remember exactly. So
So I was sort of deciding to start paying attention to it and saying, okay, I wonder could I tune into that radio, that other signal a little bit more. Maybe that's the guy in the shop. You wouldn't know. But there was a directness in the eye contact. Sorry, going back to the dream. In the eye contact, the dream experience changed levels. Suddenly, I wasn't dreaming. Now I'm in a reality.
yeah,
Do you
were
know?
you in there? Or like you stepped into the dream?
I I don't re yeah, I woke up in the dream. The dream was already happening when I woke up in
Yeah,
it. I
yeah.
became aware of the dream. And I knew that this place, I was buying this place or was coming my way or whatever way it was working. But I decided to go in because this was the day the transfer was going to happen. And I went in. There was loads of
Okay,
people in it.
stop. I have a very strong like I
Yeah,
see something now when you speak there. It's like the shop is the transitional space.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the
Okay.
shop is like, and you go in there to meet him, and he go in there to meet you. He comes from the other side, you come from this side,
Yeah, that's
and
it. Yeah.
this is
And
the
and
space that,
another, you just reminded me the shop was near an airport.
yeah,
So there's another,
there it is.
you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's so interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
They're
and speak.
amazing. Dreams are amazing.
They are. I have one I would like to share with you because we didn't get any dreams in here, so we can just share each other's. So when talking about uh instincts that reminded me of a dream I had some nights ago, where I was in a crowd of like an open space, like in a city or something, and suddenly there was like a big black. It was like a snake, and it was like sucking itself to my arm.
Wow.
It was like, how can I say it? It was uh, it was it's a mixture of a snake and a fish. It was like, and it was like stuck on my arm. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
sucking
yeah.
itself, and it was like doing these like movements, like, and I knew he was building up an orgasm on my arm. And then
Oh,
a man came. The man came and he said to me, "You have to get this snake off you because when he reaches the peak of the orgasm, he'll bite you, and that's
yeah.
dangerous." And then I take the snake off and put it on the ground, and then there's another little one, little snake on this side, half the size maybe, but in colors, and it looks at me, and the black snake like hunts me, and then I wake up, and it's like, whoa, what the fuck? I knew that was something around instincts
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
spirituality, and all that. And I was just reminded of it when we spoke about the pan energy.
And
And
you refer to the snake as him, as
yeah,
a he.
it was a he. Yeah, it was
Yeah, yeah.
definitely a
But
him. And
normally snakes would be represented more of the feminine.
yes, but the other one, the little one, the small little one, came in as a feminine.
Yeah.
So I did some active imagination, and I want to show that to you because I think that was really, really interesting. Because I think it's all boiled down to animus work. You see, there's the snake,
Okay, yeah, yeah,
big one, and the small one, and I did
yeah.
some like associations with it. And what came out was like this. Oh, can you see it? I
I
just
do, yeah.
And it's like I put them on each side, uh,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
because the little one. It turned out that the little one here was scared of the big one.
Okay.
So I had to have like a double wall in between them. And that turned out to be really like, if you turn it around, it's almost like the chakras.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was absolutely unaware of that. So there's something going on in this level.
Wow,
Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it?
yeah, it
Um,
is. It is interesting. And I realized that, you know, my ego point of view is identifying with the little one here
hmm.
more than with this one. So I have some work to do, some great work to
So
do
why, if you were to be the bigger black snake, why is it going to bite you? Because it reaches its orgasm, and then at
now.
that point it bites you, or is going to. It's building up to this.
Yeah, it's building up to biting me. And
Yeah,
and I wasn't when it was on my arm, I wasn't afraid, but there was a man, that was also a man saying to me, "You have to get rid of this one because if it reaches its peak,
and if
it's
it bites
biting
you,
you." Yeah, then it bites you, and then he will hurt you, and maybe you will die or something. I don't remember what he said,
yeah.
but it was definitely like a threat or something dangerous, or so.
Yeah, but there's also I know you, at first appearance everything points towards, it's a fearful symbol, like, it's a black snake and it
Yes,
has
but
teeth.
it's yeah, there's so much potential in it. It's so
It's
potent.
full of potential
It
and
is.
it's building up to this orgasm,
It is.
transcendence, this peak experience.
Yes.
And it's going to bite you within the peak. You'll be bitten by transcendence.
Yes. Yes. That's that.
Do you know? And this is coming from the male side. The animus
Yes.
is going to, so the smaller snake that's advising you is advising you about the bigger snake. The more humble position is informing you of the is sort of higher position, the more he's building up to this. It's like inflating. It's like he's pumping up a balloon.
Yes, it feels like that. It's pumping up a balloon. Exactly.
But there's two.
Exactly.
This is a snake fish, a
It is a
fish
snake.
snake. It's not just a
Yes.
snake.
No,
It's a
it's a fish.
fish as well. So
Yes.
it's like nearly there's two levels. There's the level of snake, which is much more ancient than the level of fish, which is much closer to to our own personal unconscious, I guess. It's like content.
Yeah.
The fish swims in the ocean, whereas the snake lives in the earth.
Yes.
I would tend to say the snake is a much more ancient symbol than a fish. But however, that's just my own personal thing. But I'm wondering what the content aspect is. So what is it that's going to harm? What is it? The is the possibility of a death, is that an ego death? Or is that something that you actually don't want, to happen?
Yeah, it's like an attitude death. I
A
think
death of an
it's
attitude.
a death
Yeah.
of an attitude. It's a death of an ancient complex kind of, remember the big stony one we spoke
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah, yeah. That you
some
had in
times ago.
other symbols. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that like this one here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see,
No,
I
it's this great image.
it's a great image, and I think somehow it has to do with that because if you see there's this split.
Yeah.
Also, there's this split in the middle.
Hmm.
It links into that
Oh, it
definitely.
does. Yeah. It's a similarity there. Yeah.
It is, and it's so interesting. And now it's like the split here. It has colors now. It has there's content there.
When
There's
you do
color
that,
there.
Hella, when you do that, the split here, and you show me with your hands, it's like you're bringing something from the conversation into a reality. You're saying it's like you're saying the split is here, and you're showing me the split is in this sort of chakric system inside of you. You're pointing at it, you're enacting it. You're actually the split is here.
Yeah.
You're doing something physical, and you're owning it in a way.
Hmm.
It's nearly like saying, this is in me, this is me, this is my state of mind. My state of mind is split. You,
Exactly. And
you know,
that's
you're acknowledging it.
yeah.
You're
And
taking it off the page and you're bringing it into yourself as life, something
yeah.
in you that is alive. The I think that's really important, that you're you're it the way we tend to meet our shadow outside of ourselves first,
Hmm.
until we own it and we pull it back in. We'll meet it as life. We'll meet it. We'll have an encounter with the shadow. A bus hit me.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
dog barked and I fell off my bike. I got sick, or something like that. I was fired from a job or something like that. We'll meet it as an event. And then as we become more aware of it, we'll own it. And
Yeah.
we'll internalize that energy, and we'll say, well, there's me, trying to control the world. Or there'll be an internal realization about the dynamic that caused that encounter with the shadow on the outside. Now, I think in working with these images, you're describing an internal dynamic that has been there from ancient times. You
Yeah.
know, you're talking about the symbol as being ancient, but maybe this, um I'm sort of going round and round something, and I'm sort of trying to get
Yes,
into
but
the
I
center of
think
it.
I have it. I think without you saying it, I think I understand what you're saying because it's it's is I just can let it go.
Like what is actually split?
Yeah, exactly.
The animus.
It's not my split.
Well, it is and it isn't. The
Exactly.
animus has a
Exactly.
younger aspect in you that is advising you, which is more helpful, and it has this more transpersonal element to it, which is aspiring to the transcendent. It's about to have an orgasm. The younger element in you is saying, "Don't let this happen," and the older element in it is saying, "I'm nearly there."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's all happening within the container that is you, your chakric system, your consciousness, your identity, your character.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
happening wrapped around your arm, which is interesting because that's your right arm and creative and what you're using to draw the images and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering in terms of bringing awareness, as you say, it's about the anima and the animus. So bringing awareness into um, the animus that serves itself and the animus that serves you. The
Mm.
transpersonal part, the inflated animus and the more humbled personal animus.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. But
Do you
because
see it?
this one definitely serves itself.
Oh, the big one does. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you
But the
think
younger one
the
is
little
not.
small one could be an animus also?
The small one advising you is also animus, but
Ah.
it's working for you. It's serving you, the person, Hella.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. It
But the
was.
big one is using you.
Yeah. 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 I get that. Hmm.
And then the content, fish, snake, symbol, snake being more femininity, ancient femininity. It's more like Sophia.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you, you know, the presence of the feminine archetype. Whereas the fish is, for me, would be more the unconscious,
Hmm.
not archetypal as such, but it's closer to our world. Like the snake is much more of the archetypal realm, I would tend to say, as a
Hmm.
symbol. Whereas the fish end of it, it's like, is 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 this symbol being used by unconsciousness in some way? Is that how it's going to bite me? Is 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 there an unconscious aspect within this dynamic of the larger animus and the ancient feminine?
Hmm.
And is in bringing awareness to it, do I bring myself back to the level of me, myself, and I? Do I
Yeah.
bring
Yeah.
myself
Yeah.
back to the level of me with my own animus and my own femininity as a person who is the creator of
Yeah.
all of these things? And I am the instrument,
Yeah.
but I am not the destination.
Hmm.
I am not the transcendent. I
Yes.
am the instrument of transcendence.
Hmm.
I wonder, could that
Can you
also
invite
be?
me into your shop? I would like to. I would like to join you with
You'd like to have a cake, would
I
you,
would
from
like
that
to have a
jelly?
taste of your cake in there.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, no,
That's
no,
what
no.
occurs
It's
to
great.
me.
We can ask what does the man say?
Well, yeah, but you see, you could do that just as easy as me.
I
You
could
could
do
go
that.
in and
Yeah, I could do that.
you have your own, avenue of access,
Yes.
wide open street of access.
Yeah. Yeah.
But certainly there's a conversation in that dream that you had that you could have. You could line up all the parts and have a chat with them all.
Yeah, exactly. That was I was about to do that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
on
But
paper.
I feel that the small one is more feminine. It's like it has something to do
Yeah,
with the split in our culture also with the masculine and feminine. The
yeah,
feminine
yeah, yeah,
being scared of the masculine and the masculine being dominating and raping almost like only serving his own like
yeah,
saving its own uh, needs and
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
so there's an element of personal but there's definitely also an archetypal level in it and
Mm.
the abuse like
So coming back
like
to
you used to.
your authentic feeling, slowing down the process and asking yourself, how do I really feel about this? How do I really feel about my abilities being used in this fashion for
Yeah,
this
I'm fucking
purpose?
pissed about that. Go away. Piss
You,
off. I don't
you know,
want to be using my arm for your
I
orgasm.
want my arm back.
Yeah,
Don't be
exactly.
using my arm for your pleasure.
Exactly. Exactly. So and it's so wonderful that we can speak about this now. And next time we speak about it, it can be, it can be something else. I think if that's the wonder of
It
symbols.
will
I
evolve.
absolutely love
Yeah,
working with symbols
yeah, yeah,
because they are so, so full of life.
yeah. Yeah.
They're
In
so
relation,
alive.
just going back to the other thing that I mentioned about the other realization about the group and the whole fraternity and alternative family type thing, and how we step from one stone to the next stone to the next stone, and equally our attachments that
Mm,
are the object of our addiction, mother, father, um, and the projection of quality into mother, father, that how we turn them into gods for ourselves, and how that parental projection holds us in the family dynamic until we have an alternative place to park it,
mm,
until we find a new group. And I just think it's really, really important to recognize that there is the personal aspect of our journey, which might be well served by knowledge and, research and all of that, the experiential of our own journey. But I think there's also this sort of collective
mm.
part of us. Like for a student going through the process,
Yeah.
I think it's so necessary that a student immerse themselves in the group journey
Yes. Yes.
and
That's
not try
also
and
what I
do it.
hear, Stuart, really what I hear from out
Yeah,
here that the group is it's working in a group and get mirrored and get,
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
all that, it's so, so important. And I think I read somewhere also that in psychiatry, what group work works better actually
yeah,
than individual work because because of all this family, the
yeah,
family
yeah.
relation
To
and
hold the
going
individual,
back
to hold
and
the,
all that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
providing an alternative container
Yes, yes, exactly.
for the person to
Funny we're
move
speaking about
through.
that because I'm going to I was sitting here preparing that like the voice dialogue. We're going to work voice dialogue with the group this weekend, and it's like this internal system of voices or sub personalities, or you can project them out into the group and they can kind of help you working them out and mirroring them
Yeah,
back to you and all that. And I think it's really, really important group work.
yeah.
Yeah,
But it was
absolutely.
just something that occurred to me. Sometimes when you have a realization and there's additional information in the insight within the realization. Like it's something I might have looked at many, many times, but when the realization hits, or when that moment happens, that moment of insight, you see more deeply, you feel more deeply
Yeah,
into it. Do you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah,
And it was
yeah,
like, yeah, okay, there's why am I realizing that now? Why am I getting that insight right now?
yeah,
Who is that for? Or
yeah,
what is that for? What is that to enable?
yeah,
So sometimes a therapist might dream the dream for the client.
yeah, exactly.
So maybe that's for, some of the people I'm working with or
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. And that's it. I think it's so again, it's the symbols, isn't it? Who is dreaming to who?
Yeah,
And I'm thinking also sometimes, are we in a dream? I feel sometimes that I am in a dream, and then who's the dreamer?
the big dream.
The big dream. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Or maybe a small dream. We don't know really, but who's dreaming me?
Yeah, Well, who's serving who?
Yeah, 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 exactly, exactly.
So I think that
I love
relationship,
this. Exactly. I love this idea with a shop in the middle, with like a space in the middle where you can go from here,
yeah,
and you can invite.
yeah, having a transitional space,
Exactly.
but that the practice of active imagination is the container.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Practice itself, the practice of meditation, practice of breath work.
yeah,
Why do we need to develop a practice? Because it's better than an individual experience. One experience of breath work or of meditation is not sufficient. You got to embrace the path, make
yeah,
it a practice.
yeah. Exactly. While you're speaking about that, I was thinking. I had this thought in my head. I noticed about this picture here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that could be a great cake. That could be a great transitional space for creating a new cake.
Well, the progression in it, the progression of you named it as your chakras, your
Yeah, it was just
chakras.
an association, but I'm
Yeah, I
aware
know,
of
but
that
it's an
it can be
interesting one.
like it can be so much more. It can, if I turn it around and if I, expand it, and
Yeah.
if I
So many
make it
different
move,
positions in
and
it.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I think I want to play with that in that
Yeah.
space in the middle instead of focusing on this or that. So I think it what you said there about the transitional space, I had this association then. That's interesting
Hmm.
because this.
Again, referring back to the dream, the guy behind the counter on the till, he's taking in the money and he's giving out the money. Do you know what I mean? He's the guy in charge at the center of it. That when I made eye contact with him, the memory I have is a previous dream, which happened like 25 years ago, of meeting Merlin, and his eyes had fires burning in them. And when I made contact with him, eye contact with Merlin in the dream, it was like I was completely pulled into the moment of his eyes. The energy, the contact with his eyes was they completely transfixed me.
Hmm.
And it's exactly the same. It was the eye contact, nearly like mind to mind
Yeah.
contact.
Yeah.
How we as mental beings living in a mental world, in a cognitive world, a world of formation of mental formations, our imagination. But it was the contact of his mind with my mind that pulled me out of my world. If I said, "Who's the doer in the
Yeah.
dream?" Well, it
Yeah.
wasn't me.
It was him,
It
definitely.
was him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was holding the power in the
He was
dream.
magic. He
He
held the
has the
magic.
magic in him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I know. I know. Can't wait to see what happens next. I remember
Oh,
years ago wanting to go to bed early so I could continue the dream from the previous night. I was eager the highlight of the day was going to bed
yeah. Yeah.
to
Oh,
have the dream.
do what I right now I'm reminded of, I was when I was visiting you in your old place, and we're doing some mushrooms or something. I don't know really what it was, but I remember again something in my arms. Something
Mhm.
happened in my arms, and I remember this. I saw this presence with you. I had forgotten it, but it comes back to me now. This presence, uh, that was not. It wasn't. Oh, what is it called? Not Adrian. What's the one you used to work with?
In terms of presence,
No, in
Patrick.
terms of media. Patrick, yes, Patrick.
Yeah,
But that wasn't Patrick.
yeah, yeah.
That was.
I know you've mentioned this a few times. Yeah.
Mentioned it before, yeah.
Yeah.
There's something else emerging.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it?
He doesn't mean cake. I'll tell you that, whatever it is. Mashed potato and strawberries.
Oh,
Mashed potato, fresh cream and strawberries.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think there
That's
might
so
be some
great.
gravy over it as well.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I think I'll stay in
Sure.
my own shop and make my own cake over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Create your own, do your own baking.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I have
yeah, I
all the
know.
ingredients is here. I can see. It's so interesting, isn't it? That
Yeah.
how this conversation did build up.
Well, they all do
Yeah,
you know? But that, I think all we need is a mirror,
yeah, yeah,
do you know, and then when two or more sit, you know, it's in the relationship of the two, the opposites, that the tension can begin to express itself. It's in the dyad,
yeah,
you know, the creative spirit enters into the relationship rather than into the I think it's always better when there's two people or more. You know, you can sit on your own forever and not get it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I wonder, can you sit online?
Can you sit online? Go on, sit online with yourself. You try that. See how it works. You give that a few hours and see how you get on. And if it works, then I'll do it.
Oh, that's great. Just put in a mirror there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But sure, that's in a way, that's all you need is the mirror effect. You
yeah,
could probably do it with the mirror,
yeah.
sitting in front of a mirror. You know, it'd be
We
interesting.
used to do that in India. You remember
Yeah,
when Rina and I went to India? We sat there for 21 days with a mirror. Gosh, that was hard work.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you could have been out enjoying yourself.
What?
You could have been out enjoying yourself.
Exactly. And I did a couple of times because it was just too hard work. So I just had
Yeah,
to go, fuck it, I'm
great,
out of
great.
here because it was really, really, it was hard.
Yeah.
Listen,
Well,
shall we?
listen, we're at the end of the recording.
Yes, we rounded
Yeah.
for today. Thank you.